we try to align ourselves with the local businesses, and they're overrun by middle-aged punk rockers.
You're listening to Our Space with Matt Vettese.
Welcome to Our Space with Matt Vettese. This is a show for millennials, some Gen Z and Gen X as well, that grew up listening to emo, pop punk, and all sorts of music under the alternative umbrella. You know, the kind of stuff that got us bullied in high school for listening to it. It's a show that allows us to connect with the bands that we grew up loving and, of course, discover new music in the same spirit of MySpace. But this isn't MySpace. This is Our Space. And Our Space is now powered by elderemo.com. They want to do the same thing, except they want you to do it in style with a bunch of awesome t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Whether you're headed to Warped Tour or waiting for your next show, they've got you covered with early 2000s peak scene lore t-shirts, some kitty shirts, really cute one that says Stink 182, and even stuff for your furry friends, like a little bandana that says Motion Kitty Soundtrack. Plus, if you head over to elderemo.com now and use the code OURSPACE, you'll get 15% off your next order. Link's going to be in the description of this episode as well. Hey, we have a special bonus episode of Our Space with Matt Vettese for you this week. We're joined by Chris of Less Than Jake to talk about their upcoming festival, Wake and Bake 2026, happening March 13th and 14th in Gainesville, Florida. At the time of recording this episode, they were in the UK on a tour bus. It was a little bit hectic, so it is a very quick chat. Reception wasn't the greatest, so the chat did get cut a little bit short. But with that being said, it was still a great chat. We got to talk a lot about Wake and Bake, Gainesville, Florida, and even got to touch a little bit on some anniversaries that they are celebrating this year and performing at Wake and Bake. I'm really excited for you to hear this chat. Let's get right on into it. We're joined today by Chris of Less Than Jake to talk about Wake and Bake 2026 happening March 13th and 14th. Thanks so much for doing this, man.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
So Wake and Bake has become a pretty special hometown tradition. I'm kind of curious what it means for Less Than Jake after, all these years.
This is a town where I don't really think the band could have come from anywhere else. That we owe a lot to Gainesville. We all met there. We all had choices to go to other universities. Somehow we all chose to go there. We all met each other. And it just had such a vibrant scene when we were coming up there that, it's our way to pay respect and homage to our hometown.
Now, for the people that may be coming out to this festival for the very first time, what makes this different than just a regular tour stop?
Well, it's kind of like almost like our private party for the band, in a sense. You're going to see the band members hanging around. No one's hiding. We all hang out for pretty much the whole weekend. The kickoff party starts on Thursday at Lucy's with Rehasher. So that's Rogers, our bass player, his other band. So they're gonna kick it off there. Fans come from England, Europe. We've had fans from Australia, Japan come in for this. And it's just one happy big community. We all, like I said, we hang out, we play 2 full shows. Roger and I are playing acoustic over at First Magnitude Brewing. We're going to be giving back to the community with Grace Marketplace, which we did last year. So a portion of proceeds from the acoustic are going to go to that. We have a couple of our friends that are artists in the town that'll be doing different Less Than Jake posters and different works of art surrounding Wake and Bake. So it's one big community of fans.
How do you go about and approach putting the whole bill and putting the whole event together? Do you have a way of picking bands that you want to be associated with it?
Yeah, I mean, all these bands are friends of ours. We've known them forever. Same thing with last year. And every time we do this, we try to pick bands that we think that the fans are going to like and that we know is going to be a good hang and is going to be an easy weekend. Again, there's no egos. There's no, hey, we're not getting enough stage space or we're not getting this and that. Like, it's just one big party.
I kind of want to know from the people that are going to be visiting from outside of Gainesville for this, is there a spot that you think fans should visit in Gainesville on their way into the fest? A restaurant or a hot spot?
Yeah, so we have a program that we put out that everybody gets. It's we print them and you can find it digitally online. We let everybody from Wake and Bake know, and they go there and we tell them a list of restaurants. We tell them cool spots in town. And we've also paired with other restaurants in town before. I'm not certain if we're doing it this year. Typically, we'll do it with Lucy's, where fans, if they show their Wake and Bake credentials, they'll get a discount on drinks, they'll get a discount on food, etc. So, yeah, the program basically tells people where to eat. And I think last year we put things like, hey, you should go check out Payne's Prairie, or you should go check out Devil's Millhopper, which is a sinkhole out in Gainesville. And so we've given them some landmarks and things to check out while they're here.
Yeah, so you just have that one weekend. There's just a ton of punks absolutely everywhere checking out all the businesses.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not as crazy as when Fest is around town. Are you familiar with Fest?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that one brings all the crazies out. But yeah, this is same thing. We try to align ourselves with the local businesses, and they're overrun by middle-aged punk rockers.
This year, you're going to be celebrating 30 years of Losing Streak, 25 years of Borders and Boundaries, and you plan on revisiting those records for this weekend. And I'm curious about what stands out to you now about those records 25 and 30 years later.
Well, two things. It just dawned on me. Are you Canadian?
I am Canadian. You can tell, eh?
Okay. Well, no, I couldn't tell until you just said about, and I was like, okay, wait a second. This guy's not from Florida. Anyways, what was the question again?
Re-looking at, Losing Streak and Borders and Boundaries, what is the one thing about that era that particularly sticks out to you now 30 years later?
Just the fact that everything was at a breakneck pace. I feel like we're finally getting to enjoy those years now while reliving those memories. At the time, it was breakneck. It was, songs were getting written daily. Practice was all the time. We were flyering telephone poles. We were taking phone calls. We were doing mail out of our apartment. Some people were still going to the university at that point. It was just a whirlwind. Then add in the major label on top of it that, we got signed to Capitol, and there was interviews, and we were on the road for most of it, so it was a very exciting time, but it seems like it happened to somebody else almost, so now I'm able to dive into the record and talk to people like yourselves and reminisce about it. And it was great times, but it was definitely a whirlwind.
Playing those albums again and going back and revisiting those albums, is there a song or a few songs that you've rediscovered and forgot how much you loved and that you're even more excited now to be playing live?
Not really, because in all fairness, we have done album shows before. We did the 10-year of Losing Streak, and I think we did the 20-year of Losing Streak, and we really made a big deal out of them. We re-released the records and did all kinds of stuff. And, we're acknowledging the 30-year and the 25 years of Borders, but it's not a full-fledged thing. So, not really. Especially the songs on Losing Streak, none of them are weird to me because I played them all so many times. We were playing most of those songs before we ever recorded the album. And Borders and Boundaries is a lot of the same thing. There's maybe only 4 or 5 songs on that whole record that we don't toss in once in a while live. So they're all pretty familiar still.
I want to thank Chris for taking the time to chat with me, especially while on tour right now in the UK. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't had a chance to go and check out the lineup for Wake and Bake this year, Less Than Jake, Voodoo Glow Skulls, Teenage Bottle Rocket, and more, it is happening the March 13th and 14th weekend in Gainesville, Florida. Go get your tickets if you want to go and check out a hometown show and fest. It's a whole big party and celebration with Less Than Jake. And also remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, to subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave a review, rate and review the show. That helps a massive amount for the show, and share it with some friends. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of Our Space with Matt Vettese.
Thank you for listening to Our Space with Matt Vettese. If you enjoyed yourself, please support the show by subscribing and leaving a review.